Hey, what's up YouTube? Thank you so much for clicking on my YouTube channel and today's video. My name is Mr. Kyle Cohen. I'm a 4th grade teacher in Cleveland, Ohio. Welcome back to the classroom. Let's get into it. Today was the start of week 2 of having all students back here in the classroom. Today is Tuesday, January 19th, 2021. Yesterday was Monday. We were off for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We were honoring his legacy yesterday and had the day off. So today we actually celebrated him. I'll walk you through what our day looked like here in a little bit. But this is the start of week 2 of having all students back in the classroom. If you have been following along this YouTube channel with me this school year, you are aware that we have been shifting back and forth between the different learning models all school year. We are now at a point where we are in the 2nd week, and it feels like whenever we shift models, it always takes about 1 week to get back into the routine because everything changes physically. There are more students here, but also every schedule component changes, what the day looks like changes, the amount of content we're able to get through changes. Everything changes from one model to the next. So with it being the 2nd week back of having all students, we're getting into the routine of what that looks like. I don't really have a preference of the learning models. There have been some of you who have asked me down in the comments, like, what is your favorite learning model? And I've also seen on Instagram and on YouTube different people, different teachers talking about their preferences, and quite honestly, I don't really have a preference. In my experience this school year, the biggest thing for me has been the lack of consistency with shifting between models. And there are flaws in all 3. There are flaws in 100% online remote, there are flaws in hybrid, there are flaws in having all students in person. None of them are perfect, but it's navigating the different models and making sure we're being as safe as can be. So my hope is that we at least stick with one for the next couple of weeks, the foreseeable future, I don't know. But again, we're being flexible, we're rolling with the punches, all of those things. Today was a good day. It was great, again, having all of my students here in the classroom. We got a lot done. With today feeling like the first day of the week, it was a really content-heavy day. It always falls that way, where you are starting new material, new content at the beginning of the week and continuing it through the week, wrapping it up at the end of the week. It just flows nicely that way. But the students are doing such an awesome job. They are not only respecting the expectations with our classroom community, but also all the safety guidelines. And on top of it, it's a content-heavy day, so they are such troopers. And honestly, I think that's also helpful to make sure that my mindset is fully empathizing with everything that they're going through. My students are in the 4th grade, so they're 9 and 10 years old. They are in school, where they might be nervous to be because of the fact that it's an active pandemic, on top of the fact that they're in school and already have all of these rules. So I try to manage all of those different pieces as I run my classroom, as things kind of just unfold in the classroom, trying to be mindful of all of that to make sure I am meeting students where they're at, that I am empathizing with all that they're going through right now, and just understanding that this isn't the school year that I had when I was in 4th grade. It's not the experience that anyone should have to have, but we're trying to make the best of it to provide them with still an amazing education, even during such a challenging time. With all of that being said, I thought I would walk you through what our Tuesday looked like. I have received comments on some of my recent teacher diaries uploads saying that you all really enjoy actually seeing what we are learning. If you are not interested in seeing what we are learning here in the 4th grade, this is probably a good time for you to peace out of today's video. But if you want to see what we did today, let me take you over to my projector. Come along. I wanted to sit you down in front of my smart board, but when I did that, it was like hard to see this clearly and my face clearly. I need to figure my life out there, but let me walk you through what the day looked like for students. So my students came on in like they do every morning, and see, this is the problem I'm having. There we go. Nice. Students came on in here this morning and they have their must-do that is posted. They have to wash their hands, write down their homework, turn in any notes or assignments. Their homework is written right over here, so they know to come in, they write down their math homework, they write down their reading homework, and then they turn any notes and assignments into the green bin. They have a seat, and they get their morning work done. Some of my students have an intervention group during this morning time, so they have to go to an actual other teacher or specialist who is supporting them. And then I have a group of students who actually stay in my classroom. They complete their 1 page of morning work, and then they move on to their different can-do activity choices. and let me click to the next slide. Do you all have a clicker? It's also a laser pointer. This was like the best $15 Amazon purchase of my like teacher career. So highly recommend you get yourself a pointer. We then got into our day of learning. We started off our day like we always start off our day with our morning meeting. For our morning meeting, we actually stand up and make a huge circle going around the entire classroom. Students are spaced out from one another, so it feels safe and meets our expectation. Had a conversation about what we did over the weekend. Since today was the first day back from the weekend, students got to reflect and share out anything that happened over their weekend. We then watched a vocabulary video on Martin Luther King Jr. I'm sure you're familiar with vocabulary, but they have a really good one about Martin Luther King. We watched this video, students loved it. We had a conversation about him. After we had an awesome conversation about Martin Luther King, we got into our math lesson. Math is the first content area of our day. So students have 3 questions that are posted up on the board. I also have a 5-minute timer for students and myself. And we go through 3 questions together. Question number 1 is usually something that we learned a while ago. Question number 2 and question number 3 are a bit more recent. As you can see, we are deep into the world of multiplication. They rate themselves on a scale of check mark, question mark, and an X. Basically, how confident are you with your answer? This retrieval practice is a really great way to get students thinking about concepts that we have previously learned throughout the school year. Students in front of them had the same exact thing, but on a like dry erase sheet. These were also from Amazon, and I copy the same exact thing. And for students, I give them an example on the left. They have it blank on the right, and this is where they take a dry erase marker and actually do the work along with me. This first example, 73 times 21, we teach students that we start in the ones place. They multiply this 3 times 1, which they know is 3. 1 times 7, they know is 7. We talk about the importance of why we keep a 0 here, maintaining our place value as we shift from the ones place to the tens place. We then almost pretend like our 1 isn't there, and we do the ones place again, starting with our 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 7 is 14. And then students just add up what they got. So 3 plus 0 is 3. 7 plus 6 is 13. They carry that 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. And 1. After our full group 15, 20, 30-minute math lesson, we engage in 30 minutes of work time. This time is really differentiated and individualized based on what all students need. Some students are pulled with an intervention specialist. Some students are working with a paraprofessional. I'm working with some students. Some students are working fully independently at their desks. Some are in a hybrid of both. Some do one thing for 15 minutes, another 15, right? So every student has what they need, but up on the board, I have posted exactly what they need to do. So today students had 2 different worksheets that they needed to engage with. The first one was called Multiply and Have Fun. The second one was this mystery picture. So after students complete this first item, they need to get it checked by me. They then move to the next item, and then they can participate in either of these can-do activities. Always have a timer posted so students know what's going on. It keeps them accountable, it keeps me accountable, and ensures that things are flowing smoothly. After our math lesson and before we get into our reading lesson, we take a 10-minute break. I use the same 60-minute timer here all day. It's never actually set for 60 minutes. I find it easier to just always have a 60-minute timer that I can adjust, right? So I can hit play up on the timer and then adjust down below with whatever time I need. But during students' 10-minute break, they can use the restroom, eat a snack, they can read, they can go on their Chromebook. It's really great giving them the 10 minutes to do what they need to do. They know that this is their bathroom time so that they don't ask during math or reading. And I have found that giving them in 4th grade the autonomy of managing this break has been really awesome for their independence and our ability to navigate this time seamlessly. Our reading lesson today focused on text features. We were previously working on nonfiction text structures, but today we transitioned into text features. Given that we are transitioning into a new unit from text structures to text features, we want to make sure students have a really strong foundation with their knowledge. So we purchased this slide deck from Teachers Pay Teachers. Actually, my team has used this in years previously, so they already had this slide deck. But we went through it with students. They had a notes sheet that they were filling in as we were presenting these slides. Very engaging. Students were doing something, physically writing as we were going through it, and it gave them a really strong foundation for what text features are. That was what we covered today in math and in reading. During our writing time in our afternoon block, we had to do some of our vocabulary. We also were working on another one of our race passages. We connected that one to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as well. Tomorrow is Inauguration Day. I thought I would show you what I have prepared for that, since I don't plan on vlogging tomorrow, but I still wanted to show you what my plans are for Inauguration Day. I always try to find an article or something interesting that can really, get students excited about what we're talking about. So tomorrow being Inauguration Day, we're going to read this article together. This was a free purchase from Teachers Pay Teachers. And then there are also some questions that we're going to work through talking about Inauguration Day. I typically start what could be political or challenging conversations with fourth graders off by asking what they already know. A great example of that is a couple weeks ago, the Capitol was taken over, and my approach was, I came in the next morning and I said, so did anyone hear about what happened yesterday in Washington, D.C.? Nearly every single hand went up. They had a conversation. I facilitated it. I don't always find the need to, as their teacher, teach them about what happened with what happened at the Capitol and the election and the inauguration. This is a very tense time in our country's history, and students are fully aware of what is going on. They are in fourth grade in my case, so they're not living under a rock. Their families are talking about it. They're talking about it with each other. And at the end of the day, I just want to give them a safe space to have these conversations. So typically, like what I plan to do tomorrow is I plan to ask them, so who knows anything about Inauguration Day and what this day is all about? My guess is that many of them will raise their hands. My guess is that many of them will identify that it is going to be the day where Joe Biden is inaugurated as President of the United States, and they're gonna have themselves a conversation. I don't always feel like I need to talk. I know it's probably shocking because you're probably like, he doesn't stop talking, but I don't think it's always my place to speak. I think as an educator, it's my role to facilitate the conversation and really let the students do the talking for themselves. And that's what I plan to do tomorrow with Inauguration Day, and then we'll engage with this activity as a way to reinforce everything that we talked about and also give them an opportunity to read and write, which is always so important. Well, that's a wrap on this Tuesday. I'm going to get out of here. I hope you really enjoyed seeing what we are doing and learning here in the fourth grade. This school year is crazy. It's unlike anything we have ever experienced and hopefully will ever experience, but I so appreciate you all for being along for the ride. If you have not already done so, make sure you hit that red subscription button down below so that you do not miss out on any future videos. Again, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.